Hey everybody, good to be back on All-32. Sean Conti here. I got my man Jamual with me. What's up, Jamual?
What's going on, Sean, man? How you feeling? It's been a while, bro. I ain't speak to you in a couple weeks, bro. How you feeling?
I know we missed an episode, man, but as you can probably hear, and unfortunately for our listeners, I've been battling a little bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit nasally, man, so I gotta work our way through that. You gotta get me through that tonight, man.
Doing 2 shows, man. You on a double shift.
Yeah, exactly, man. Sometimes it's... You people at home would have no idea, man. It's a hell of a lot of work, but we have a goddamn great time doing it. So, Jamual, these are some awesome games we've got coming up this week, eh?
Hell yeah, man. I just know if it's anything like the Sunday games that we saw in the divisional round, well, I can't wait. Those was two great games, and prior to that, they were pretty boring. But those two on Sunday, man, they got everybody's spirits up, and I'm excited, bro.
Oh, me too,
good
man.
Football.
It's going to be so good. We saw some major things happen this weekend. Definitely got to talk about that later. I know Jamal and I want to talk about teams that lost this weekend and, how good their chances are next year. But let's lead off with something a little different. I thought this would be a fun place to start. So, as I understand it, Bleacher Report came out with their version of the most clutch quarterbacks of this past year. And It's an interesting list, to say the least. Yes, Jamal?
Yeah, definitely it is. And it caught my eyes because I thought it was, oh my. When I looked at the list itself, I saw their stats and I was like, okay, that's fair. You explained it somewhat, and then when you start looking at their list, I was like,
it's
bro,
suspect. It's highly suspect.
Yeah, you can't be serious. So I'll just read you the paragraph of how they formulate their stats right quick.
Yeah, give me the first couple, and then we can maybe give our suggestions. Yeah, that's good.
Definitely. So. They asked the guy, one of their stats guru, Garth Sundum, to develop a clutch quarterback algorithm. So their stats that they pulled was the overall quarterback play, adjusting them by how much better or worse he performed under pressure, then add specific special situations like game-winning drives, 21-plus yard throws late in the game, turnovers inside an opponent's 30.
This sounds reasonable so far, right?
Yeah, so I mean that's basically what they defined as clutch.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'll give you their top 5 that they listed as the clutch quarterbacks. So hold on, let me go to that list right quick.
And I know this is going to be crazy because you gave me a warning that this is crazy, but
I did.
I have no idea what to expect.
I did. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start with I'm gonna go 10 on down. So
all right.
Number 10, Matt Ryan, which is fair. 51%.
Okay.
Fair for him to be in the top 10, I should say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So their ranking has him at 51.6% percent clutch. Who else? Next is Jameis Winston, who's at 52%. Marcus Mariota is number 8, 55%.
Mariota.
Then you have,
Okay.
Then you have number 7, Alex Smith, who's 60% clutch.
Okay.
Yep. Now you got Russell Wilson at number 6, who's 61% clutch.
I think he's a pretty clutch guy. I'll get to my list later, but I think he's a pretty clutch guy. Continue.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Russell being in the top 10.
Absolutely.
Now you got Drew Brees, who's 66% clutch.
Okay.
Take a guess. Just I know it's gonna be difficult, but just take a guess. I know. At number 4. Now, think outside of the box. Do not think your average quarterback. Just think, who do you think would they have at number 4?
Number 4. Number 4 most typical clutch quarterback, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And you told me this was crazy, so I don't know how out of the box to go with this.
You wouldn't be wrong with a guess because it really is this bad.
I have no idea. Jamal. Who
I know.
I set
you up. I set you up with that one. That's my bad, bro.
No. I have no idea. I'm really curious.
Colin Kaepernick. Number 4.
No, see, I never would have guessed that, man. There's no way.
He's number 4 at 73.7% clutch.
See, this is why I didn't say anything because I knew if I said that out loud, I would feel like a fucking idiot. Yeah. See, that's insane, man.
See,
76% clutch, huh?
Yeah, and I'm gonna read you what they said. They said Colin still has a big arm and a ton of speed. he's had little opportunity to be clutch in 2016, but in the fourth quarter he used simple schemes to help his offense get open.
Oh my
So
gosh. Oh
basically,
my gosh.
he he dropped back and ran the ball. He scrambled.
Okay. Okay. See, now I feel much more confident wagering stupid guesses. What are we at? Number 3 now?
Yeah, we're at number 3, man.
What
We
do they
got
say? What do they say? Kirk Cousins?
actually he's number 1,
You
which
you
is actually
you
spot
don't lie to
on.
me.
He's spot on. It's like, nah, I'm let me stop.
Yeah, seriously, don't mess
Nah,
with the
I
listeners
don't
like
want I
that,
don't
man.
want people to get upset over that one. They go nuts off that.
That's right.
So number 3 is Andrew Luck. He's 98%
Oof, I
clutch,
would not put
98.5.
him at number 3. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. This is crazy.
Oh no, no, you're good. You're good, bro. Then you got number 2 at who's Big Ben, 98.5, same thing as Luck.
Okay,
And
okay.
number 1, which I agree, he's probably in the top 5 for sure, is Derek Carr, who's
Uh-huh.
99.3% clutch.
Okay.
Here's one of the things that stood out though. As I told you before we started. First off, Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers are 21st and 24th on their rankings,
That's blasphemy, man. That makes
and we
no
know
sense. Both those guys made
it
my top 5 list.
right. And we know, and this is for 2016 people. We got to remember that. We know Matt Stafford had 9 or 8 game-winning drives for his team alone,
Boom.
and you have Kaepernick in the top 5, bro. I don't understand it at all, man. I don't
That
understand it.
that's bogus, dude. And would you say Aaron Rodgers was 24th?
Yeah, he was 24th. They said he was 25% clutch.
Oh my God, 25. What? That does not make sense. Now I'm even kind of surprised to hear that using their own metrics. I guess what they've done here is made their metrics way too specific. I
Yeah,
guess that's the only way you can describe why you would come up with a list like this. That does not pass the eye or the smell test, my friend. That's a crazy list.
not at all. And just for skin's sake, for those who don't know, Kirk Cousins, he was ranked 19th at
19.
38.5% clutch. Yeah, so
I would put him 500th. No, not quite that bad, but I have a personal bone to pick with Mr. Cousins. But anyways,
yeah, yeah, we know what his issues are.
we do. Okay, so this is a crazy list, man. I don't know if you have a list of 5 guys. I've got a list of my 5 guys that
Yeah,
I
shoot
would.
shoot yours off first. Let me hear yours, man.
Okay, man. Now, I think this is absolutely crazy. Let's start with the last question I asked you, which was clarifying where they put Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy that he would be 24th. He was my
Yeah,
number 1, and not only was he my number 1, but he was the only number 1 that I didn't even really take notes on. I can't really understand how you can call into question Aaron Rodgers' clutch gene. Let's
right.
rehash, the details that we know. Going on a hot winning streak at the end of the season here to get their way into playoffs. This team has been in basically win or lose situations going back 8 weeks now or something like that. They have
Yeah,
been chasing the Lions this entire time. He has single-handedly carried them as he always does. We all also know about Green Bay's brand of football. This is a backyard style of football that depends on Aaron Rodgers running around, scrambling around, creating time, extending plays, finding a guy open. That's off script, so to speak. That is
yeah,
clutch, man. That's exactly what I would call clutch, and it just that's mind-boggling. They wouldn't put him up there. He displayed,
yeah. I
the
just
same thing he always does this past weekend. You
Yeah,
know,
I just think sometimes when it comes to these stats, you also have to use something called common sense. Like
amen.
these things that they tell you, like stats don't always tell the full story. I understand you want to go by the numbers when you do these rankings just for the hell of it, but like Jesus, like it got
Be
to be some
real.
type respectable. I understand it's interesting to look at, but like damn well Aaron Rodgers ain't the 24th best quarterback when in terms of clutch. Like that's not it.
Exactly. No, that's an insane thing to say. I mean, almost don't even know what to say about that. But, anyways,
Yeah,
I only expect more clutch things to come. This was a clutch win he just orchestrated this past week. So,
definitely
he
one of the best
definitely
throws of his career, honestly, especially if they make the
exactly.
Super Bowl.
Exactly, man. So this has been huge. He is my number 1 most clutch quarterback. I mean, is he your number 1 as well?
Yes, he is my number one.
Okay.
I can't. It's basically everything you just said, so I won't even take too much time. It's everything that you said. He said we're going to run the table, and he did just that. He's willed his team like through a lot of situations. A depleted defense started playing better because of his play. Like he raised his play, they raised their play.
Right.
Um, So it's just so much revolved around him. He made that team move, and what 6, 7, 8 straight wins.
There you
So
go. That is
and now
clutch,
now
man.
they're in the conference championship
Yeah,
because of him.
you win exactly. You win at the end of the season there, get yourself into the playoffs. You are clutch, and he does it routinely. But anyway,
Yeah. But let's do before you finish, let's do
sure.
5 since we all know who's number one. Let's do 5 through 2. So start at your number 5.
Good call. Okay, I like that. Yeah, my number 5 spot was kind of a toss up. I think you could put. I mean, this was tough. We only gave ourselves 5, right? So this,
Yep.
this was kind of tough for me to
We
fit
gotta
in
make
there.
it fit. Leave somebody out.
So yeah, exactly. So I actually ended up putting down. Man, it's a toss up, really between 4 people for me. But I'm gonna say I put Russell Wilson as my number 5.
Okay.
He and Aaron Rodgers, man, they are scrambled eggs, man. All they do is scramble around and buy time. Again, that's a huge part of what I am calling clutch. He started this season struggling, no doubt. But he was
Yep.
also injured too. He had a bunch of lower body injuries. Steadily came back and hurt teams with his mobility, like he always does. In a year when the Seahawks defense really struggled, I think over years past, he really played up, man. He stepped up. So Russell Wilson. I mean, if we're talking
Okay.
about clutch, man, Russell Wilson's got it. He's my number 5.
Okay. I can't knock that. For me, like I told you before the show, I gotta go off the top of my head, but
Sure.
I did formulate it,
What
as we
what
were
comes into
speaking.
your
But
heart, Jamal?
number 5, man. Shoot, gotta give him credit. Dak Prescott.
Okay, nice. I love that pick. I like
Dak
that pick,
Prescott,
man.
man.
I like that.
Um, I know. I know he had a lot of help with, the team overall, the offensive line, Ezekiel Elliott, but at the same time, they won 13 games this year
That's right.
under his leadership. So,
That's right.
you know, a rookie doing that. He's had opportunities where he's had to make the big plays, um, and he doesn't have to make the game-winning throw, but he does have to lead the big drives down the field. When it comes to,
Hell yeah, he does.
one game in mind, since we're on the Hogstar Network, is week 2 against the
God bless him.
Redskins.
Oof,
Yeah, so
giving me bad memories,
it's
man.
just it's games like that where you just know, he's had those opportunities plenty this season, and it's just he did a hell of a job, and I got him at my number 5.
No, that's a solid pick. I can't knock it at all.
Yeah.
I'll just come out with the man. He's my number 4. If we want to move on,
Oh, okay. So, all right. So we
yeah.
had the same person. Okay, I knew I wasn't tripping.
Yeah, no, not at all, man. We're on the same wavelength. I'll just say this too: the other guys that tied for me at my number 5 were Matt Ryan and Ben Roethlisberger. You might be surprised
Okay.
they're not higher on this list. I don't know, but those were the other 2 guys that I had in mind. Yeah, Prescott's my number 4, man. Fourth most clutch quarterback of the 2016 season. For all the same reasons
Okay.
that you just said, he's a rookie. Tops in the league for a big part of this season. In fact, I believe it still rings true. His fourth quarter quarterback rating, by the way, is better than his average quarterback rating. So he actually plays
For real.
better in the fourth quarter. To your point about, yeah, I mean, to
Okay.
your point about playing well and leading, drives and game-winning drives and leading his team down the stretch, he does it, man. He plays some of his best
Yeah.
football in the fourth quarter. That's really all there
He
is
showed
to
a
it.
lot of composure, man, as a rookie.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Prescott's a solid pick for my number 4. We're on the similar wavelength. Who'd you get as number 4?
My number 4 is Bleacher Report's number 8. So I have Marcus Mariota. Uh,
Nice. Okay.
I've seen a couple of his games this year, and it just so happens that the couple of games that I saw, he was actually leading the game winning drive. Um,
There you go.
I think against the Chiefs in Arrowhead, for you to lead a game winning drive, first off, you were down a couple of times. I think you were down, I want to say double digits. I'm not sure, but you were definitely down a touchdown, and you let them back both times, and then you let them back to get the game winning field goal. Um, to get you guys in the playoff or keep you guys alive for the playoff contention, divisional title race. So
That's right.
Marcus Mariota's done that a couple times, and it's actually back to back. They played Kansas City one week, and then the week before that, I believe they played a team. It's not on the tip of my head right now, so I can't really think of it. But 2 straight weeks where he had a game-winning drive and a comeback. So it's just things like that this year, where you've seen him do this time in and time out, and you said, yeah, you can't deny the type of player that he is. So he's another young guy that I got to put on the list. So Marcus Mariota, for 2016 is my number 4 top clutch QB.
Man, you're making me feel bad because he's one of those guys. He and the Titans are, I got to admit, in this business, so to speak, if we can even say we're in this business of talking about sports, it's hard to follow every team. And Marcus Mariota is one of those guys that I'm like, I got to follow what he's doing, but I just have not stayed on the up and up on Mariota this year. It's actually good to hear you say that. You saying putting him as your number 4 makes me be like, shit, I got to go look into Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough, to catch a few of his games, so I enjoyed it. And obviously, when you see a young guy like that, and he was helped out with a running game too as well, but at the same time, he has to make those throws, especially when they count, and he's done that this year. So that's going to be my number 4, and it's fun watching these young guys play. And I would have Jameis Winston. He's in my top 10, but
I'd put him in my top 10
he's another
too,
young
actually.
guy I like to watch too.
Yeah, that's a solid pick too. Absolutely. Well, let's move to the number 3 then. This one was tough for me, man. This one was another toss-up. I kind of had him, these two guys, either one could be 2 or 3. I'm not sure. So I'm going to say my number 3 is Derek Carr. Okay. Ooh. Carr's my number 3. Now, I know, I can't remember. Were you reacting negatively when they had placed Carr really high on the other list? I forget. Do you think that's a crazy pick?
I wasn't reacting negatively, but for number 1,
you wouldn't put him as your number 3.
Number 1, I couldn't put him up there.
Okay.
Like not as them, but I think he's definitely in the top 5.
Okay.
So
okay. Gotcha.
I can't disagree with that.
I just want to make sure you didn't think I was crazy. So
no, hell no.
And this is my rationale because you got to love what Derek Carr's done. Lots of fourth quarter comebacks. You got the weight of the franchise on this guy. He's got major playmaking ability. 5 game-winning touchdown passes in the fourth quarter or overtime this season. Lots of game-winning touchdowns in general, and winning drives that he orchestrated himself. He's got a passer rating. Dude, get this. He's got a passer rating of 110.1 in the final 15 minutes of games, in the final quarter. That's a huge passer rating for the end of games, man. He actually won 4 official NFL Clutch Player of the Week nods this year. I forget who sponsors that. It's funny though. Look it up. He won 4 of those weeks. He was the Clutch Player of the Week. I mean, he's a solid dude. I don't know how anyone could. It's just tragic what happened to him. I honestly question people
that was real unfortunate, man.
It's so sad. I would question anybody though who wouldn't call him clutch. He's one of only 4 quarterbacks too that have 300 completions in their first 3 seasons. I think it's Andy Dalton, Andrew Luck, and Peyton Manning that have done that. So, dude, I think this guy is clutch city.
I respect that, man. I respect that number 3. And the thing is, when it comes to Derek, I feel like he's grown every year. Like I think the first year they went 4-12, the next year 7-9, and obviously this is his breakout year, and It just sucks, like you said, the injury for it to end like that. Especially they was in the hunt for that division title.
Oh, that franchise needed it so bad, man.
Yeah, and for them to lose like that and then have to go on the road against the Texans, which they could have easily beat. Honestly, with Derek Carr, like the entire makeup of that team is filled with Derek Carr's attitude. So it's just unfortunate, but I understand that number 3 is perfectly fine with me. So for my number 3, I have Matthew Stafford.
Nice. We're so close, man. He's my number 2. Sorry, go ahead, man.
So my number 3 is Matthew Stafford, and
nice.
Obviously for the same reasons we spoke on earlier. I think 8 game-winning drives, and 8 fourth quarter comebacks. So, that team.
There you go.
For a person who was considered overrated by a lot of people because of the fact that he had Calvin Johnson on his team in years prior, I just think that he showed his ass off this year. And he balled out. First off, he started off the season with a fourth quarter comeback against the Indianapolis Colts, and Andy leading the game-winning drive for a field goal. Getting the field goal victory. So I just think that when you look at Matthew Stafford, the things that he's done for his team, he literally put that team on his back.
Absolutely.
They don't have a run game, but they thrive when Matthew Stafford is playing well. That defense isn't that great, but they get the job done. They don't force that many turnovers. They don't do much. They don't create that much pressure. But I mean, they don't get that much sacks. They do create pressure. I take that back. Sorry about that. But That's just what they do. Like it's all Matthew Stafford.
Absolutely, dude. I I couldn't agree more. And I mean, just because you keep picking my my picks before me, I'll just go right into it. Yeah, Stafford's my number two for the same reasons. Like you said, eight fourth quarter comebacks. He's actually 14th all time in NFL history for fourth quarter wins, man. And he's got a lot of football left to play. He is a
And they say
clutch
this man
player.
overrated, bro.
Oh, and it's crazy. It makes no sense. They were marching along to the postseason until they got Aaron Rodgers. You know,
That was inevitable.
exactly. It was inevitable. You know, the Green Bay's on a tear, but they were marching their way down there. They were playing really well. I think Stafford's proved he has skills beyond Megatron. You know, if anyone doubted that. And I'll just say this last point on Stafford, man. Recall how they beat us, right? That was a
Oh my
tragic game. You know,
goodness.
when I say us, people, we're talking about the Redskins. Threaded that beautiful 17-yard pass to Bolden with 16 seconds
Who
left on the clock. That was a win we could have used.
who knew 40 seconds would have been enough time for Matthew Stafford to go down there and score?
See, when you got the clutch gene, Jamal, it's all you fucking need. All you need is the
That's all you
clutch
need,
gene, man. I mean,
right?
I hate to break it down and
We
say
blinked our
anything.
eyes and they in the end zone.
Exactly. You know, I hate to break it down and make it seem so simple, but it is, man. You've got to have the clutch gene. If you don't have the clutch gene, you're not going
Absolutely.
anywhere. But anyway, yeah, Stafford's my number two. That's who I had. You know, take it from there.
It's I about to say, shoot, yeah, I agree with that. So we just flip flop because my number two is Derek Carr.
Boom. Nice. Nice. I love it.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I mean, I can't obviously, bro. I don't want to keep repeating ourselves. It's for
Exactly.
the
Just went
same.
through.
It's the same reasons. It's the same reasons you named. Derek Carr is yours, man.
Yep.
He's done a lot, and that makeup of the team is all around Derek Carr.
Yeah, see, I
And
stole your
obviously,
thunder on that one.
yeah, and in big moments he came clutch. He was going back and forth with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At one point, they went to overtime. He threw 5 touchdowns, 500 yards on them.
Boom.
The number one defense against Baltimore. He had to throw 4 touchdowns for them to win the game. They didn't get those yards easily. I don't even think he went over 200 yards passing, but he had four big throws and all were touchdowns. So he had to do his thing a few times this year. And number two obviously is Derek Carr, and we both know our number ones was Aaron Rodgers. So
There you go.
obviously, fellas and ladies, this is 2016, so the top five of 2016. We didn't ask for our top 10; that would have took too long. But top five, we
That's
just had
it.
to pay homage to these people.
Amen.
So I obviously we know where we stand with that, man.
Hell
Police
yeah,
report,
man.
you can get the hell on with that Colin Kaepernick, man.
That's the craziest thing, man, I've heard like
Yeah,
all
that's
week.
the one
That's
that threw
insane.
me off, bro.
I'm gonna
Really
think about
did.
that in the middle of the night and wake up laughing. That's a great one.
You know
Um,
they had Brock Osweiler at 15, by the way.
no, and I think that's ridiculous
Top half
too.
the league.
Though you know, it's not as egregious to me as leaving Aaron Rodgers off or putting Colin Kaepernick so high. You know, it's crazy,
Okay,
but you know, it's not that bad.
I understand that. Okay.
You know what I mean? That would be my take on it. But anyways, actually, maybe this is a good time since we've talked about all these top players. Maybe this is a good time. And you know, obviously, we've only talked about quarterbacks. You know, we could segue into a little MVP candidate conversation, perhaps. So,
Okay.
I don't know what
Yeah,
you
let's
have
do that.
in mind. I don't know if you're a top MVP candidate for this year as a quarterback or not. Mine
Uh,
is.
well, I did. I had I wouldn't say top candidate, but Zeke Elliott, he definitely was up there in my top three.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I always say this, I said this on Twitter a lot. If David Johnson and the Cardinals was in the playoffs, then he definitely would have been. He would have been in front of Zeke Elliott. So that's just what it is. But as far as the quarterbacks, it comes down to obviously Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers. So when it comes to MVP candidates, I can't just ignore the fact of what Aaron Rodgers done. He's done more with less, per se. And when I say less, I just mean like obviously he has weapons, but there's been injury riddled weeks for them at a time where he's had to shoulder the load. Jared Cook has been in and out of the lineup. Jordy
Mm-hmm.
Nelson hasn't really been full health all season. Like in that 6 game stretch, he was really just starting to get his legs under him.
That's right.
Devontae Adams been his go-to guy all year, but he's just been doing more with less. And obviously, they don't have a running game. Ty Montgomery just started doing well for them as a running back, and he's a receiver for him. So he's done more with less, and I think the streak that he went on in the regular season, where he had in the 6 week stretch or 7 week stretch, 20 touchdowns or 22 touchdowns and no interceptions,
Zero, exactly.
to get his team into the playoffs. Like that's just incredible alone. And obviously we know what Matt Ryan has done. One of the league's best offense, matter of fact, by far. So we know why he's up there as well. But number one, I got Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, man, and I'm pretty much there with you. It pains me to say because I hate talking about Aaron Rodgers so much. We do it year after year, but there's a
I
reason
mean,
that
he
he's
got to pay homage to the great man.
exactly, and I think he's won it
Great.
twice. I believe he's already won it twice, so it's not exactly unprecedented. Look, when you watch what he does, there's no question about it. It's him doing most of this, and I'm sure we'll go over a lot of this when we talk about the game preview. But when he does most of this,
Yeah.
it's him. I think I frankly question sometimes what Mike McCarthy does on that offense. Most of their success comes well after the script is over, and guys are just
Yeah.
making things happen. Yeah, like
This
you
man
said,
was drawing up on the last play before the field goal. He was drawing up the plays of the routes of what he wanted his receivers to run.
yeah. See, that's
It looked like four verticals to me for some reason.
right.
Like after I seen it develop with
Okay,
Cook dragging along behind the linebackers.
such a
But
good play. Such a good play.
yeah, like it's just the fact that it's everything comes off script when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. That's what makes him great.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, he's such a solid MVP candidate. Cam Newton, I think before the season started, everyone said Cam Newton was going to be it. Oh, how sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had gotten it last year, everyone thought he would repeat. How sad the mighty fall. But Aaron Rodgers was predicted to be the next runner-up, so I guess at least people can say, the number 2 guy ended up being the number 1. I like your
He's
call
gonna
out of
have
Zeke. I think that's another great call out, man. And other guys, other running backs, man. Le'Veon Bell, I think, is a solid pick. David Johnson in Arizona has been doing awesome things. I think you could almost consider him like a sleeper pick because I feel like he gets no press. But he had like 2,000 yards from scrimmage, man, and 20 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't see him getting it just for the simple fact that, like I said, if his team was winning,
Exactly.
he probably get the MVP. But obviously,
Winning
at
counts
this
for
point,
everything, man.
yeah, at this point, in terms of MVP, it's a lost season for him. He's not gonna get that.
Would you give it to? Would you ever consider giving it to like Prescott or Derek Carr?
Definitely not Prescott.
Yeah,
Um,
he doesn't
you
really do as much
can't do
himself,
that.
so to speak.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's more of an argument for Zeke than it is for Dak.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I would say I would consider Derek over Dak himself. So I would consider Derek, but I just don't know how it'll play out because of that injury. I just really don't. I really
Yeah.
don't know.
No, who knows? It's a good question.
What about you?
In terms of Derek, or
Would you consider Dak or Derek?
I think your point on Dak makes total sense, man. Yeah, I can't really argue with that. Probably not him. Derek Carr, I think, has a much better argument. For the same reason that Odell Beckham, I think, has an argument. I think those guys
Okay.
single-handedly kind of do it for their teams. In OBJ's case. He does. If he doesn't go, the Giants' offense doesn't go. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I can't think of a better way to
Some
describe
people
an
had
MVP.
them in their top 5 or top 3 as their candidate too. So I definitely agree with that one.
Yeah,
Odell.
an argument can be made, though. Again, like you said, if your team's not winning or it's not advancing further, I think you don't get the leg up on some of these other guys. So I would say that's the case for Derek as well.
So we got 3 on display this weekend, man. Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, and you got Tom Brady on the AFC side. So
that's right.
It's definitely gonna be interesting. Do you happen to know when the voting takes place or when it's announced?
I don't actually, not at the top of my head.
Okay.
We'll tweet it out or something after the episode.
Yeah.
Good question.
But yeah, it's definitely gonna be a hell of a Sunday this weekend. So you get to see the 3 candidates on display. Obviously, if Zeke made it yesterday, if Zeke made it past this round, you would have seen what he's been able to do. But
that's right.
I love to see these quarterbacks play. It's gonna be a hell of a game. Both sides.
Yeah, these are gonna be crazy games. I don't know. We had another thing in our notes. We were gonna talk about teams that lost last weekend that have the best chances for next year. But I don't know. Do you want to do that now, or you want to just go straight into the game previews for this weekend?
We could do that for a quick second.
All right.
So as far as, because I was thinking about this before we started the show. I just felt it just dawned on me, like, the minute, typically when I see the Cowboys losing the playoffs, I'm happy as hell. Like,
Yeah, me too.
it's my biggest
Yeah,
it's
me
my
too.
biggest moment of the day, especially when we're not playing. Especially when we're not playing in the playoffs. It's just the best thing that happened to
It's the
me.
next
'Cause
best
I
thing.
just love seeing the Cowboys fans be miserable. Um, but then when I realized that I was more so happy with the fact that I betted on Aaron Rodgers winning. I betted on Aaron Rodgers and he won.
Of
So I was
course.
more so happy that I survived that game. I survived the heart attack.
How
Because that's
selfish.
what they put me through. And then I came to the realization that, you know, this probably isn't a one time thing when it comes to Dallas. They have a great set of young players. Um, and when you look at the NFC East, it's gonna be tough. Like in general, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be four teams that's gonna be battling for first place. I mean, obviously
Bunch of
everybody
young
battles for first
teams.
place, but yeah, it's a bunch of young teams that's battling for first place, and they're all competent, good to above average. I mean, above average to good. So, you're not dealing with a bad team in the NFC East, but I think the best team that stands out with loads of potential is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like they lost that game. They were first down 21-3 and they came right back and were a missed kick away from taking possession and going down and kicking a field goal to win the game themselves. So um you just realize the stuff that they've done this entire year and the pieces that they have, you just know like they have a possibility of going right back to the divisional round, if not further. And it pains me to say it, but I'm just being real. Like that, it just dawned on me. Like these guys are not done yet. They're
No.
not done.
No, it's so true. That was a game I was actually, once again, some miracles at the end of games. Playing backyard football got them that game. I thought the Cowboys
Yeah.
were going to win. And I
You
think
did?
actually I really did think that the Cowboys are going to win. And I kind of agree with, well, not kind of, I completely agree with everything you said. I think in terms of the NFC East particularly, but also just in general, this is a team that's set up for continued success in the future. I don't know how much more I have to add to that, but I'll tell you what, in terms of other teams that might have lost that have potential, man, there's a couple. Yeah, I think
Yeah, about to say,
actually,
yeah, Kansas City.
I think
I
Kansas
actually
City
think
and
Kansas City's probably going to be worse off, honestly,
you
because
think they're going to
they
be
got some
worse?
pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, they got some pieces that may end up, they may end up losing in the off season.
Yeah.
It's been what 4 years I think with Andy Reid now, and obviously with him losing again, not getting past the divisional round is something that uh may weigh heavy. Obviously, they're not
Well,
firing Andy Reid, but it may
no,
weigh
no.
heavy with management, And then on top of that, some players, who hasn't had the opportunity to shine under Andy Reid, but they're still solid in their roles, may seek elsewhere. Like you got some people on the defensive line, that may be wanting to leave them, and they're not that good defensively in terms of stats wise. They do force a lot of turnovers, but they weren't that stout this year. So, it might be a lot of change and turnover in Kansas City. This
I,
is my guess, my opinion. So
well,
I
it's
think they might be worse off than anybody that lost.
Well, it's a completely fair opinion. I mean, I would just say this. They might lose some pieces, but they need some pieces too. And I feel like that's a team that
Yep.
if they can just figure out a way to get that ball downfield, force it downfield, they're just a little bit too pragmatic. You're not going to win divisional championships or playoff games or the Super Bowl if you don't get more
Yep.
aggressive on offense. I feel like if they can flip that switch, that they have huge potential, but Andy Reid just seems completely against doing that. It's been how many years of him doing this?
Yeah. But I mean, they may have a potential problem with Alex Smith. They may just be stuck in limbo where they
They
committed to Alex Smith right now, and
no, then move. You
they don't
gotta
have
move on if you
anybody.
gotta move on, man.
Yeah, but I think they're afraid because if they do decide to, not pull the plug on Alex himself, but they may just feel like they don't have anybody that's better right now. They may be looking. They may have some backups they may be interested in, but who's been outperforming Alex Smith in Kansas City? Nobody.
Right?
Nobody's
No,
been doing it, and
it's a
he's
great
not
point.
even the best of the best. He's just not. He's average. He's an average quarterback who will get the job done for you.
It's one of the more interesting, I think, dilemmas probably around the league right now. Now, obviously, the other team, I think, because there's two other teams that lost but I don't
Yep.
I don't know if you care too much about Houston, but Seattle would be the other one that I would mention in terms of potential for the future, man. I mean,
Okay.
their offense started off struggling. I think Russell Wilson came alive more towards, as the season went on. Their defense had some trouble, but if they can get, some solid defensive play and, give me a playmaker on offense besides Russell Wilson, that team has tons of potential.
I mean, I agree. I think a lot of the issues that they had, and I'm pretty sure you saw the game on Saturday. Yeah, it was
Oh, yeah.
Saturday. They just had tons of issues with Earl Thomas being out.
Middle of the
If
field
they
there.
can convince him to come back, because he's seriously considering retirement. So if they can get him to come back, and play for these guys again, then obviously, they may have some. They obviously have something to work with. It's not May, but they have something to work with defensively. They'll be just fine. However, that offense, like you said, they need a playmaker at the wide receiver position. Tyler Lockett, he got hurt too.
Yeah.
Same. I think it was the same week Derek Carr got hurt. He hurt his leg in the same fashion. So it's just something where they have to get better at the receiver position. Doug Baldwin is good, but he's not. He can't do it by himself. He's a number one, but it's like you can do better. You can have somebody out there who can help him.
Yeah.
But you also have to improve that offensive line. Russell Wilson has been in the top five in sacks ever since he's been in the league. He's been sacked a bunch of times and pressured a bunch of times. So you
And
got
it's
to get him
crazy
help
he
on the
takes that
offensive
many
line first.
sacks because he's so
Yeah.
mobile. It's crazy that he still takes that many. It's just
Yeah,
insane.
and that just speaks on his offensive line. Like he can do a lot for you. He can make the offensive line look somewhat decent with his elusive skills. But like you said, it's as much as he does that, he's still taking a lot of sacks, and that's a lot to say on his offensive line. So
That's right.
if he can get some help up front, he may be able, like you said, they may be able to do even more damage. They already have two good running backs, honestly. So
I think they need to go get Gus Bradley back, who was their defensive coordinator that built that 2012 defense. Did he get gobbled up
you
by
think
anybody
so?
yet? Did he get hired?
Nah, not yet. He's looking at a few jobs, honestly. The Redskins, the Chargers. It was the Niners at one point, but they went with they're offering the job to Kyle Shanahan, and that's not the person that was interested in Gus Bradley. If it was Tom Cable actually who works with the Seahawks right now, and he's not taking the job. So
Okay.
Gus Bradley's still out there.
He's still out there, man. They might want to go,
Yeah, and
go
I
pursue that.
doubt Seattle wants Gus Bradley back. Honestly, I really do.
Really? Why you say
Yeah.
that? Why you say that?
Well, I mean, you got to think the first few years he was with them, he didn't really do well until he got an Earl Thomas or Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor. They were 20th or worse, I think, statistically,
Really?
on defense under him. Yeah,
For the
until
first couple
he
years?
got for probably about 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And when he got those three pieces in particular, um, they were top five defense both years, 2011 and 2012, before he moved to Jacksonville in 2013. So, shoot, I wouldn't take him back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing good. They're doing good right now. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it's not like a knock on him, but anybody can coach them. Like, they got the pieces in place right now.
No,
So
that's a
they're
fair
set.
point. It's a great.
Yeah,
It
they're
would be a
set
great
right now.
situation. Yeah. No, that's fair.
He
Well,
better off going to
yeah.
the
I mean,
Chargers for real, honestly.
that's an interesting call. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So,
Want to get to these games, bro?
yeah, I was going to say there's probably not too much to talk about in terms of Houston, so let's just glide on over them. Not to dog our friends in Houston, but, 4 teams lost, and we said 3 of them had potential. That's pretty good. We can't give it to everybody. So, yeah, let's talk about these games coming up. What you want to lead off with, our NFC showdown or our AFC showdown? What do you think?
Shoot, let's go to the NFC.
Let's do that
See
NFC,
what these
man.
two talking about. Packers and the Falcons.
Goddamn Packers, man. I am so sick
I know you're sick of it.
of the
You're sick of
Green
it.
Bay Packers, man. Don't make me do this. Don't want to do it. No, we'll
Well,
do
man,
it.
we got about 10 minutes, probably 5 to 10 minutes. We got to talk about these guys.
We'll give them their requisite time. Well, I don't know. I'm sure you have a bunch of thoughts. I'll just say this. I think it's a good place to start off. They're predicting a historic point total for this game. Falcons and Packers are teams that get it done on offense and score some points, bro. In fact, just to put in this little tidbit. Falcons put up 540 points in the regular season. That's the 8th most in NFL history. It obviously tops the league this year. That's huge, and we all know what Green Bay does. So with that, I'd love to get your general thoughts on how this game is going to go.
Well, let me say first, man. In our wild card preview, I had the Giants beating the Packers. And at that moment,
you made the
I
big
stated,
mistake, man. Rookie mistake.
I made a mistake. Yes, I did make a mistake. But in that moment, I said, whoever wins this game, period, doesn't matter if I'm wrong or right. Whoever wins this game is going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And
the way that game unfolded in itself, Aaron Rodgers torched the number one defense in the NFL playoffs. I mean, I think that the Texans is obviously, statistically they're number one, but I think the Giants, with a healthy DRC, was the best defense that Aaron Rodgers would have faced. And when DRC got hurt, he lit their ass up, and it was no looking back. He put up 38 points on them. He put up a few touchdowns through the air, and it was just a show, man. It was an absolute show. So when you look at this Falcons game, it's the same situation. You don't want to go against Aaron Rodgers, especially in a situation like this where he's hot.
Right. You never
these
do.
These players are on a hot streak as well. It's not just Aaron Rodgers anymore. It's the entire team. They know what they're fighting for, and they're one game away from going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man.
So the way I feel, I have the Packers winning, and it's going to be a tough game, and it's hard for you to say matchup wise on paper that they can get this job done, and there's for a multitude of reasons. Like, their defense is injury riddled, and they're going against Julio Jones, 2 number 1 running backs, and Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman.
And their defense
and
not great anyway. Regardless of injuries, their defense not great anyway, man.
If they honestly not, if I that's where I disagree. If they were fully healthy, they'd probably be a top 12 defense in the NFL.
You think
they're
so?
always good against the run? That's the one good thing. They're always good against the run.
Or is it that no one cares to run because you can pass all over these guys?
That may be the case this year.
Yeah.
You got to remember when we played the Redskins. When we played the Redskins, when we played the Packers in the playoffs last year, a lot of people underestimated them because of the fact that they were in a slump. But they were still a top 10 defense when we played them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They were still good on that side of the ball.
You're speaking sense.
So if they were healthy, then they would have looked extremely better. You got Sam Shields is out. They lost Casey Hayward. But besides that, it's a monster. Atlanta is a monster, a juggernaut offensively,
dude.
So it's really Aaron Rodgers.
It's Aaron Rodgers. You don't even have to go beyond that, man.
It's the Green Bay Rodgers. I'm sorry. It's really no other way. Like, that's just what it is, bro.
No, it's so true.
And he's gonna have to go against the Atlanta Falcons.
It's so true, dude. So his statistics. I mean, this is interesting because this would be the question I'm going to post for you. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Last week against Dallas. Inside the pocket, he was 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and an 82.7 quarterback rating. That's throwing inside the pocket. When he's outside the pocket, he was 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and a 146.8 quarterback rating. Okay, so that's like a 60-point differential. Obviously, you know what system I'm using here. But that's a 60-point differential when he's throwing inside the pocket or outside of it. So my question to you is this. Is Aaron Rodgers truly, his clutch gene and his backyard brand of football, is that going to be enough to take on Atlanta, who, let's just talk about them. Atlanta Matt Ryan doesn't have to scramble anywhere. They've got an O-line that started all 16 games of the regular season together. That's he's kind of like got all the luxury stuff he needs around him. So is that crazy off-script magic of Green Bay going to be enough to beat what I think is just a really great, solid team and scheme in the Falcons?
Yeah, it can be enough. And I don't say this in a naive way. I don't mean to say it like that. But It's just the things when you look at a quarterback in itself. First off, like I said, Atlanta is a juggernaut. You got to go against that team overall. Like, they're not that great defensively.
No,
but when you get an offense who can score on every drive, literally every drive that they have, especially against a defense like the Packers, where they're struggling due to their health issues, um, especially in the secondary. So when you and there's in Atlanta's strong suit is the passing game. Even though they're well balanced, but their strong suit is the passing game. So
It's true.
it's like they have a lot of issues a lot of challenges against Atlanta, but um, you got Aaron Rodgers, his backyard style of play, it definitely can work for them. It definitely can help them out. But it will help if the run game shows up. I think Montgomery is healthy this week. I know he was injured a few weeks ago and he played last week for the most part.
Right.
But and then on top of that, their left tackle got hurt last week as well. So I guess we have to wait. We're recording this on Tuesday night. We have to wait for the injury reports, to go any further.
Yeah,
But for
see
the
what comes
most
out
part,
Thursday.
I'm assuming these guys are going to play. Um, they wouldn't miss a game like this, but he's going to need help.
Oh yeah.
But for the most part, Aaron Rodgers if he can continue what he's doing these last 2 weeks, he definitely can get past the Atlanta Falcons. But this team is primed. Like Atlanta is primed for a Super Bowl berth. They
Oh
really
yeah.
are. I won't knock it at all.
So
I won't deny that.
So I think we're both saying this is going to be a scoring frenzy, but you're giving the edge to Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers' magic.
Oh no, I'm not giving the edge to Green Bay. I'm just giving it to Aaron Rodgers himself.
There you go.
It's all on him.
Just purely
it's
to
all
Rodgers.
on him.
Okay.
I learned my lesson in the wild card. I'm never betting against Aaron Rodgers until he loses. And I doubt he loses until he gets to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he'll lose in the Super Bowl, but I know he's getting that far. And
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he loses against the Falcons. It'll be a hell of an upset. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
That's just how I feel. But I do want to ask you.
Yeah, they're playing at the Georgia. That's the other thing. Atlanta's at home, so you got to remember that.
Yeah,
you got to remember that.
It's gonna be tough, and it's for some reason it's a hell of a stadium. Home field advantage, especially last week. It was pretty tough for Russell Wilson.
That's true.
So it's definitely gonna be a good home field advantage for them, and it's a rematch from earlier this year where I think Green Bay lost by a point.
Yeah, it was a close game
against Atlanta. So they have another reason to get some revenge against these guys. But I do want to ask, just out of your personal opinion, who do you trust more offensively?
Yeah.
Do you trust Atlanta's offense to get the job done, or can you trust Aaron Rodgers himself to get the job done?
Man, it's
who do you trust more?
I can't say anyone's crazy for taking any opinion. I'm going to give the edge to the Falcons for a couple of reasons. One, first of all, just so one of us can be right on this show, because somebody's got to be right. I'm going to give it to Atlanta. They've got the home field advantage. I think they are just a more pragmatic, well thought out team, and I think that goes further in the playoff. I know I gotta bite my tongue while I'm saying this because I know it's crazy in the context of Aaron Rodgers, but I think in the postseason it's always better to have a solid plan, you don't want to have to be running around creating magic every time you drop back. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers can do that. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep pace doing that against a team like Atlanta. He did really well against Dallas. He obviously pulled it off, but he's not just asked to do a little bit of magic. He's getting asked to do a ton of magic right now. So I don't know, man. It's going to be really, really tough for them. I think Atlanta.
I agree. I definitely can't disagree with that. It's definitely going to be tough.
Either way makes sense. Anything that happens in this game is going to make sense. Nothing's going to be crazy.
I just can't. I can't wait till we see it, man. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I keep saying that. I keep saying it, but I mean it, Raz.
No.
It's really a good matchup. Two MVPs going at each other. It's something to watch, and it's going to be a hell of a QB display. So it's something that we all should be wanting to see. And it's really Aaron Rodgers against the Falcons. I said it before. It's just what can he do? Like that team, the Falcons is a juggernaut. I won't. It's gonna be a hell of an upset for me, honestly. Yeah. I'm not over exaggerating. It really is because I do know why the Falcons can win it. I really do, and it's obvious.
Absolutely.
It's obvious why they can win it. So
it makes sense either way. If Green Bay wins, I'm like, yeah. Totally makes sense. If Atlanta wins, I'm like, yeah, see, told you. Either way, it makes sense. No one's crazy for calling any predictions. So,
I hear you, man. Let's go ahead and get off these Packers.
Yeah,
because I know you're sick of them.
Well, yeah, God, man, I just hope next year they suck. That would be like the best thing in the world. Sorry to alienate any Packers fans that are listening to this, but I'm tired of you. It's like 10 straight years. Get away from me. Go away.
I hear you, bro.
Well, let's talk about another team that needs to go away, which is the New England Patriots. They're facing off this week against the Steelers. It's going to be certainly an interesting matchup. I know we've talked a little bit about the Steelers already. on this
Yep.
show. I'm sure we got a ton, a little bit more to talk about in the context of this game. Can I just make a point real quick about the Patriots? Here's the Patriots schedule, man. Texans, Cardinals, Dolphins. Okay, they played Pittsburgh without Big Ben at that point. Then they played Buffalo, Seattle, San Francisco, Jets, Rams, Ravens, Broncos, Jets, Dolphins, Texans. That's a fucking easy schedule, man. This team walks into the postseason every fucking year, and it drives me crazy. They had a much harder schedule than their opponents this week, which are the Steelers. Yes, I know that Tom Brady missed 4 games at the beginning of the season, but they waltzed right into the postseason again. So I just wanted to make that point in the context of this game. I think that this week against the Steelers is the hardest game they have had to face all year.
Oh yeah, I agree. And I think the thing when I was looking at this game before it started, the Patriots have a top 5 defense in yards and points allowed. But
do they really?
Listen to the teams that you just named.
Exactly.
They weren't really facing anybody, up to par. That's a top contender, a top quality opponent.
Nope.
Like these other teams in the conference championship games are playing. When you go against, I guess the last team that they lost to, the Patriots, was the Seahawks, and they lost to them at home. And that's a quality opponent. They were in the same division. I mean, they were in the same round as the Patriots this year. They lost to the better team, which is the Falcons. So the last team that they lost to that was a quality opponent was the Seahawks.
There you go.
You're going against a team that is elite offensively.
That's right.
And they're elite because of 3 people. Big Ben,
give me those people's names again, Jamal.
Antonio Brown.
Boom.
Le'Veon Bell.
Boom. So, and Big Ben, let's give it to him. The 3 Bs,
man.
You got to give it to Ben, too.
3 Bs. So, let me ask you, who do you trust more in this game? 3 Bs or Brady and Belichick?
Man, see, these are such great games, dude. I love the hard questions. This is tough. You know what's going to come down to for me? We know that Pittsburgh's offense can execute at a high level. I don't have doubts that they're going to put up a bunch of points. I think that if Pittsburgh's linebackers can hold up the middle of the field there, I think there's a chance. Recall last week, okay, Dion Lewis is this running back out of New England. Last week, he became the only guy, I believe, in postseason history to ever score a kick return, a reception touchdown, and a rushing touchdown in the same game. In the postseason, that is.
Yeah.
If they can bottle him up, and by the way, this might surprise some people about the Patriots this year. They are like the epitome of run-pass balance this year. They are like 54% pass, and the rest is run. I mean, they are actually pretty damn good in terms of balanced attack. So I think if Pittsburgh's linebackers, so this is like, Shazer and Lawrence Timmons, if they can hold up the middle of the field there, I think they have a chance at beating Tom Brady.
Did you know they were undefeated with Dion Lewis on the field with them? I think they're like 16-0.
Really?
When Dion Lewis plays, I got to get the exact stat, but they literally, I know they're undefeated for a fact. I don't know what their exact record is, but I know they're around like 14, 15 wins and no losses with Dion Lewis on the field with them.
See, I didn't even know that, and I mean, he has had to. I think he's become so much more important with Gronkowski, having his issues and being out, again as always with back problems.
They love those versatile running backs, man. James White and Dion Lewis does a great job for them. And obviously, we know what Garrett Blunt does for them too.
Exactly.
So, they love those running backs, man.
Yeah, I mean that's not a team that I think last year they were like 64 or higher, run in terms of the pass over the run. But this year, they really balanced it out because of those guys that you just said. I think it's going to come down to that and whether or not Pittsburgh can stop that. You're not going to stop Tom Brady through the air, so don't be silly. But likewise,
Bill Belichick is just one of the smartest coaches of our generation.
Oh, he's got to be
one of the best coaches.
He's got to be the smartest, man.
Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be tough for these guys to scheme, and we all know. I'm not sure if you've seen the video itself, but what Antonio Brown did in the locker room, giving Bill Belichick and the Patriots anytime, like obviously it's something little, but it's anything can be used.
Yeah.
If you're a competitor as bulletin board material, it doesn't matter how little it is, but hey, they called me assholes. I'm gonna show them, what assholes are.
Yeah, man, you're making such a good
point.
Like.
So
you got to respect your opponents, dude.
Yeah, I don't blame Tomlin for it. It's just the fact that Antonio Brown leaked it.
That it got out exactly.
Tomlin, you talk trash like that against anybody in the locker room, especially where it's not supposed to get out.
Right.
So, obviously, if I mean, probably I don't think Bill puts that up there on the top of his list, the trash talk that Tomlin did. But at the same time, I know he heard it, and I
Oh
know he's
yeah.
gonna keep it in the back of
He
his head.
hears everything, man. I think he's hearing
Yeah,
this right now,
definitely,
probably.
probably, man. I wouldn't put it past him. I can't put it past him.
Yeah,
So,
man.
but yeah, for me though, I asked that question because I think um it's a high chance. I can't put it past. I really trust three Bs more than I trust Brady and Belichick. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
going
think
off.
that's a solid pick, man. And like I was saying, I don't think they've seen a challenge this tough yet this season. New England has, so I think that's a
Yeah,
solid pick too.
and I'm going off basically what I've seen the last time Brady and the Patriots played against a top quality opponent, and it was and even shoot even last week against the Texans, they covered their spread, which was like 16 to 15 points,
Hmm.
but they scored what I think two offensive touchdowns,
Yeah, something
if
like
I'm
that.
not mistaken, two
That
offensive
sounds right.
touchdowns, and the rest was special teams, and so Brady had a bad game against a good defense, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is playing well. They're averaging, I think, 16 points per game since they've gotten on the right track after a
Mm.
rough start this season. They've gotten on the right path. And then you got obviously we stated already, and they have a solid tight end as well, who can go across the middle if need be, who can make those tough catches for them. And Le'Veon Bell's been on the path over 100 yards in his first two games
Dude,
in the
he's wild,
playoffs.
man. He's a
Yeah,
wild
and if you can
MFer.
control the clock against the Patriots and force, um, I wouldn't say force, but um, tempt Josh McDaniels to leave his game plan and start playing catch up ball. You may be able to play into your strengths, rush the passer, and sit back in zone. You know what I'm saying, and cover. They don't really have that many weapons out there, so
Right.
they have Julian Edelman. Martellus Bennett is a possession tight end. He can make the tough catches, but he's not going to beat you over the top. So if you can play good ball offensively and execute, because Big Ben is not that great on the road. Um, so you
That's a
just
good
have to
point
make
too.
sure you play a great game. But Le'Veon Bell is gonna have to show up, and I think he can. I think the three Bs themselves are gonna be able to, win this game for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, hit me with it then. So you calling it for the Steelers by how much? What's the score?
It's gonna be close. Definitely, it's definitely gonna be close. I can't give you a score, but maybe they win by between
Oh,
2 and 4 points. Okay, I give you a
you
score.
got
Okay,
to give
okay,
a
okay.
score, man.
I'll give a
You
score, man.
got
I'll
you
give
got
a
to look
score.
like an idiot or look like a
28,
genius. Either way, man.
28-24. Pittsburgh wins 28-24. I
Okay.
give you that one.
Okay.
28-24, man.
Yeah, and I mean that's a solid pick. I would just throw out there. I think the Steelers are on a nine game winning streak, and they're putting up about 25 points per game. So that's like a totally sensible prediction. I'm not going to go too far off, man. In fact, I'm going to give it to the Steelers too, because
Oh,
I started this whole conversation talking about how the Patriots just, as always, waltz right into the playoff. Every team they played was either a crappy team this year, or a very very weak wild card playoff team, or the Steelers when Big Ben was injured. So yeah,
yeah.
I don't look too highly on what the Patriots have done, even with Tom Brady missing time. But that said, you got to respect them. I mean, it's Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So I'm
So
gonna
we both got
say,
Pittsburgh going in there pulling off the upset.
yeah, I mean, shit, man. I'm gonna say 31-28, Pittsburgh. I'm
Okay,
gonna give them
okay,
the win
okay.
too. I think it's gonna be a high scoring one. Shit, man. Both these games are gonna be high scoring. This is gonna be a
Definitely.
crazy
So let's
weekend.
let's let's be clear. You got so we didn't. I didn't hear you say anything with the Falcons game. Who do you got winning that one?
Oh yeah, no. See, I went. I tried to be the opposite of you, man, to play devil's advocate. I'm giving it to the Falcons.
Okay, what's your score for that?
Yeah, I don't think I gave a score, so I'm gonna say for that one, both high scoring, man. It's gonna be a high scoring game. Aaron Rodgers is gonna chase him all the way down to the clock. I'm gonna say it's 31-28 for the Steelers and the Patriots. So for the sorry, I'm doing mental calculations here. Yeah, I'm gonna say 28-21. Falcons win by a touchdown. That's
Oh,
actually not that high scoring, but I'm gonna stick with it because I said it.
well, man, that's probably I didn't give out a score either, but I got the Packers winning obviously, but probably I would say maybe around the same score as the Dallas and Packers game.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
Probably like
34,
35,
31. Yeah,
31
yeah.
or 34, 31, something like that. So it's going to be up there. It's definitely going to be up there.
All right, well, we'll tweet out our predictions here for this weekend on Twitter, at the Hogsty, so make sure you're following
Yep.
that, you fools. But you can check our progress against the game, see how we do. Hopefully we don't look like complete idiots, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, myself, I don't look like an idiot. You know, I sound smart when I talk. So in the moment, it sounds good. So hopefully that's all they remember about
That's
me.
all that matters, my friend. All right, sweet. Well, shit, man, we'll leave it at that. I hope you guys had a good time listening to us ramble on tonight, and you can catch us over at thehogsty.com, so make sure you do that. This has been All-32, Episode 4. We'll be back with you next week. Check in with us on social media. Peace out.
Peace.